Good afternoon. We're going to call to order the November 23rd, 1:37 p.m. canvassing board meeting being held here at our King County Elections headquarters in Renton, Washington. This is for the November 8th, 2022 general election. I am canvassing board member Julie Wise, the King County Director of Elections. And with me, I have canvassing board members Susie Sloniker, the Chief Deputy in the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and Stephanie Sirkovich, who is the Chief of Staff to the King County Council. We are staffed today by Geraldine Hampton, our King County Elections Ballot Processing Manager. This meeting is being live streamed via the King County Elections Facebook page and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel after this meeting. For our first item, we've got Geraldine Hampton to talk through and have us review some ballots for voter intent.
All right, thank you. We're going to start out, we've got 20 ballots to review today. We're going to start with item B-0023. We've got two items on the front. So we've got legislative district number 46, representative position number 2, as well as the prosecuting attorney. So are the votes in Leach and Jim corrections, because there's a fill in the oval and then there's an X on top of it. And the votes for Daria and Lisa marks are those votes. Or are the marks for Leach and Jim actually votes and the X is not votes? I can zoom in a little bit here.
Geraldine, is there a rule that we should look to for this one?
The rule on, let's see, target area, marks in a target area is page 2, which tells us essentially things in a target area are going to be considered votes. And corrections are on page 34. So for a correction, if a voter fills in a target area, they put an X over that filled in target area, and then they also filled in an additional oval, then the mark with the X on top is considered the correction. So if that's the case, then that would make Daria the vote. Page 34 for corrections and page 2 for target area.
It looks to me like maybe it's that example on page 38. Or 37.
And the reason we wanted you to take a look at it, and in the context of the rest of the ballot, they are filling in their other ovals with X's on top as their actual votes. And so that's where it made it more unclear for us and why we wanted to bring it forward. And they, to make it more confusing, they voted with just X's on the back. Except for one of them where they filled it in and also put an X. So not a lot of consistency, but.
I mean, it could be that they were first marking with an X for their preferred candidate and then filling in on top of that. And maybe that's why the back they didn't get to the back of the ballot. But then that makes it difficult when they've got X's in two. They essentially have X's in both candidates for Ledge District 46 and for the prosecuting attorney. I mean, I don't know. I would err on the side of the filled in bubbles being the vote for that candidate, and the X is just based on the way the rest of the ballot is filled out.
I agree.
Board has determined that For legislative district number 46, representative position number 2, it is a vote for Rave. And prosecuting attorney, a vote for Farrell. That's accurate. That's right, yes. Okay. Yes, please.
Next item is B-0024. We've got one item on the front. For the Office of Secretary of State, does the write-in line, which appears to say the word Julie, is that a written instruction to turn this into a vote for Julie Anderson, the printed candidate? Or would we leave that as an overvote because there are 3 ovals filled in?
I would take that as an intent to vote for Julie.
I agree.
The board has determined for Secretary of State, a vote for Anderson.
Next item is B-0025. We've got one item on the front. Again, for contest of Secretary of State. There is the word incumbent in carrots on the write-in line. So our question is that a written instruction to vote for Steve Hobbs since he's the current Secretary of State?
I would take that as an instruction to vote for Mr. Hobbs.
Is there a rule that talks about written instructions?
There is a rule on written instructions. That's page 44. It's Rule E. It's essentially telling us voters can use words, circles, lines, arrows.
Yeah, I think I agree with that conclusion just because, in the example 1C, it says this one, it's sort of the same to me as that. Right? This one.
The board has determined for Secretary of State, a vote for Hobbs.
Next item is B-0026. Got a single item on the back. So for Seattle Proposition 1A, 1B, is the double asterisk here a written instruction to vote no because it's next to the no? The filled in target areas are both crossed out. And again, there's 2 asterisks next to the no.
That's a tough one. I think for me, it would be hard to tell. I mean, I know they're not stray marks because they're very intentional and they're asterisks, but they're both, yes and no are both crossed out. I would think that is, to me, is that an undervote? Is that one?
I think an overvote is
An overvote? If it's,
Undervote because they cancel out both of them.
If it's a double
okay.
correction, it would be an undervote.
Okay,
No-
then
no
I'm
vote.
sorry, wrong word.
I mean, both of those are filled in, so
Yeah.
I mean, overvote would make it is a
Yeah.
call to.
right, but I feel like they didn't vote for anything because they just sort of crossed it all out. And even with the asterisks there,
It doesn't,
I can't, it's just not clear. I mean, it's crossed out. Did the asterisks come before the cross out? If the cross out, if they put the asterisks there first, filled in circles and then crossed everything out. I mean, they could have intended to cancel everything out. So,
so I agree, we can't tell the intent.
The board has determined for City of Seattle, Prop 1A, undervote.
Next item is B-0027. Same contest, Seattle Proposition 1A and 1B. So for this example here, we have the word no written in the response area. While both of the responses have a line through it, Although you can see next to the yes, they did write a yes, but then they crossed out the yes and wrote a no.
I would interpret that as a no.
Yeah. I think that's clear, an instruction.
Board has determined City of Seattle Prop 1A, a vote for no.
Item B-0028, we have one item on the back. So for Southeast Electoral District Judge Position Number 1, there is a mark in the candidate Leah, and it's a large messy mark. Is this meant to be an undervote for the whole contest? Like, are they trying to cross out the whole contest, or is it a vote for the candidate? So one of those messy mark type
Yeah.
situations.
Given it's in both ovals, it looks to me, I can't tell if they're trying to vote prefer with the missing mark.
To me, it looks more like a messy mark for the candidate, even though it does drop down into the oval below. Looking at the other marks, they're a bit messy, but they're more clearly, I think, sort of as a pattern to me that it's for that candidate, but
I can agree when you describe it like that.
The board has determined for District Court Southeast Electoral District Judge Position Number 1, a vote for Leah.
Now we're on to item B-0029. We have one item on the back. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. So for West Electoral District Court Judge Position Number 2, unlike the rest of the contests on the back of the ballot, there is a mark for the actual printed candidate and only one X, whereas all of the other contests got 0 mark and 2 X's. Does this make it a vote for the candidate, or because of the X, are they trying to not vote for that contest at all, and should that be an undervote? Like the rest of the contest.
So if we look at everything, I would take it more as a trying not to vote that one. Just missing an X and accidentally filling it in, so I would say not to count it.
I agree.
The board has determined for West Electoral District Court Judge Position Number 2, undervote.
Next item is B-0030. We've got 3 items on the front. So we've got King County Charter Amendment Number 1. There's a mark in between the 2 target areas. We've got Representative Congressional District Number 1. Again, there's 2 marks in between. I'm sorry, there's a mark in between the 2 candidates. And then for prosecuting attorney, there is another messy mark in between 2 candidates.
These are tough. I mean, they're right in
Right up
between.
here in the middle, yeah, with a little bit of ink on both, so I would vote to count none of those.
I agree.
And we're comfortable with overvote? Ink in both, or ink not in both?
That's a good question. There's definitely ink there, so ink in both, I guess.
Yeah, that's how I saw it.
The board has determined for King County Charter Amendment Number 1, overvote. United States Representative Congressional District Number 1, overvote. County Prosecuting Attorney, overvote.
All right, next item is B-0031. We've got 2 items on the front and then most of the back with the similar marks as the 2 on the front. So for King County Prosecuting Attorney and then State Supreme Court Justice Position number 1, there is a long X. And our question is that a written instruction to undervote the contest? Or is the center of the X in one of these candidates and therefore they get the vote? The center of the X is also close to this candidate here. And then we do have contests on the back in a similar situation where the center of the X sometimes goes into the candidate's oval and sometimes does not. And then they voted with a regular filled in target area on the measure there.
So that one together.
Yes.
It's funny that for the other candidates, besides the state Supreme Court and the prosecutor, they filled in for the candidate.
Very carefully.
Very
filled in.
carefully.
Yeah. I feel like this voter is saying, I'm not voting in these
Yeah,
contests.
I agree.
That they're not.
Or you're comfortable with undervotes then? They're not voted in those ways, okay. The board has determined prosecuting attorney undervote. State Supreme Court undervote. State Supreme Court undervote. Position 5, 6 undervotes. All the judge positions undervotes.
Next item is B-0032. Similar situation, only 1 item on the front. For United States Representative Congressional District number 8, another long X in that contest over the ovals. And then there are no votes on the back for any
I would
sort of comparison.
use the same logic we used in the last one.
Board has determined for United States Representative Congressional District number 8 undervote.
Next item is B-0033. We've got 1 item on the front. And 1 item on the back, sorry, just making sure I got my numbers right. So for legislative district number 34, state senator, we've got an X that's sort of in the middle of 2 ovals here. You can notice that the voter uses an X type of mark. On the contest on the back, which is state Supreme Court Justice Position number 5, there's also an X type of a mark, but it's significantly above the actual candidate here. Zoom in a little bit. This is a very faint ballot, so it's kind of difficult to see. That's the one on the back. That's the one on the front. So applicable rules would include messy marks that you would find on page 72. And also a pattern of similar marks. So if you thought that this was the same type of mark they're using in a pattern, and you felt that this could be linked to Barbara, that could be a vote, but we were unclear.
There's also Rule B on page 22 that talks about, because the marks are the same type for each race and they show examples of marks that are of the same type, but they're not necessarily in the bubble or not necessarily right in the target area. So
Yes, but similar mark can be inside the target area or outside the target area. If you feel like you can just discern which response that mark is associated with, that can be the deciding factor.
I think because there's only one name on that one and because all the marks are similar across the ballot, Even though it's a little bit off the target area, I think that that was an intended vote for Barbara Mattson.
I agree.
And then back to the item on the front. There's one candidate there, there's one candidate there. But you need to see it closer.
Yeah,
It's hard to
that's why I
see.
took a look at it. That's a definite closer call. It's hard to tell. It's pretty right in between. I wouldn't feel confident
I agree.
being able to choose which candidate.
Board confirming it looks like an undervote, I think. I'm not sure to call undervotes or overvotes. Is it about ink that's in the oval or if it's about in the intent of? Okay. We're gonna go with an undervote for
like
that one because I don't see any ink in that. Is that okay, board?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the board has determined legislative district number 34, state senator, undervote. State Supreme Court justice position number 5, a vote for Barbara.
B-0034. We have a lot of items all over the ballot. The front of the ballot has 4. So now we're going to revisit some write-ins. So the connection between the write-in feels sort of loose to the printed candidate. However, when you look at it, you can see why they might have chosen a certain thing. And so we wanted to bring them forward to you again to help discern if we could have any overarching guiding principles, or we can happily just bring them to you to use your discretion. So we can just start from the first one here. We've got legislative district number 43, state senator. Jamie Peterson is the candidate. Peter Jamison is the write-in. And maybe I'll ask you what maybe you want to read them and look at them closer yourself.
We want to make a determination on that first one.
I think that's too far afield from Jamie Peterson to Peter Jameson. I mean.
Right. Well, we can probably guess that they probably are, because the rest of the ballot is sort of done in this way. I mean, yeah, that name is just, there very well could be a Peter Jameson that that they're intending to vote for there. Hard to tell. These are, difficult because you're getting into someone's intent. And is their intent just to make a joke? Or is their intent, are they actually wanting their vote to count for something and make a joke? Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe if it's helpful if you peruse them so you sort of see the variety of types of jokes.
Yeah,
John,
do
was
they,
that the worst
do
one
they
you had?
know that do they think they're throwing away a vote? Do they think they're not? Are they making a
Is that
statement?
our worst one? Yeah, okay. There's a variety. It's not the worst one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. And we have several more that are in the same vein of like misspelling or bad jokes. I don't know, maybe if it's helpful if you look at them all sort of together, it can help you
Maybe,
come up with
yeah.
sort of.
Yeah, the ones we had at the last meeting, it was a pattern of, instead of Julie wise, it was Julie unwise. So it was really easy, I think, to make the call that they voted for the printed candidate on this ballot that Stephanie has right now. They're further afield than just a slight variation on the name. And some of the things like Pagliacci pizza for someone.
Right.
It's
They
more of an
don't
intent
really
just
think
to.
they're voting for Pagliacci pizza
Right.
to become a judge, right? And then there are those here, for judge position number 4, Greg Hirakawa is the candidate, and then they wrote in Hisashi Iwakuma, which, is different enough. That's not an obvious spoof of the candidate's name. And it could be a legit write-in for someone. Yeah, I struggle because, like I said, I don't know if someone to get into someone's mentality when they're filling this out, they take the time to do this, they write in these names. Do they think that when they're doing it, are they thinking, oh, they might not even know that it's going to count. They're just maybe throwing away a vote and being funny and thinking, this is, clever. I don't think they're thinking about like, what are the ballot rules and are there, how are these going to be interpreted? It's a tough call because you want to err on the side of counting people's votes if they really are legitimately trying to vote for something, but maybe just making a statement at the same time.
I think in this one, you could argue that the voter was interested in voting on a few things.
Right.
And they made
Right.
those very clear and did not do, sort of spoof or any write-ins whatsoever, right?
Mhm.
And then sort of at that point, then just decided they didn't. So does it seem that these variations of write-ins are so away from the actual printed candidate's name that they are true write-in votes instead of votes for the candidates?
I think there are a couple on this one that could potentially be write-ins for an actual person, right? I mean, obviously Macrina Bakery and Pagliacci Pizza are not, those are spoofs of the candidate who is there, who's printed on. But the one that I read on the back, I think, you could argue that it's different enough of a name.
Yeah, had they not voted on the front for those other contests so clearly, where they filled in the oval and didn't write in a joke name, I would tend to do that, but it seems like on this one, I would count each of them as a write-in and not for the candidate.
A write-in not for the candidate.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's all we need to determine, right? Is that not if it's a good write-in or a bad write-in. Is this a vote for the candidate that's printed right above it?
Right.
Or is it a write-in?
Yes.
And
I
that's all.
made
Right.
these a write-in.
And these are different enough that
Yeah.
you can say that they deviate from the printed candidates. Yeah, I see that.
Okay, so the board has determined that these are write-in candidates' votes. Geraldine, what would you like me to make any indication on this?
You don't have to. We're making it out write-ins.
So no votes for the candidates.
Next one with similar issues is B-0035. There's one on the front and then one on the back. So for State Supreme Court Justice position number 1, and then the one on the back for West Electoral District Court Judge position number 3.
I think the vote on the back for Derek Robertson is not different than Rebecca. But the one in the front was like what we saw before, the Mary Lee. We picked that before as a vote for the written candidate, so I would split it on that one.
I agree.
Board has determined that State Supreme Court Judge position 1, a vote for Mary Yu. And for West Electoral District Court Judge position number 3, it's a write-in vote.
Item B-0036. There's many on the back. hand it off to you.
Some of these are very charming. Yeah, I mean, most of these deviate. I mean, they're just, some of them are just crude, you
Yeah.
know, they're just not even, it's not like reversing, you know, marry you, marry me. It's not,
Yeah.
you know. um,
So vote for the write-in.
Board has determined that all of these votes will be for write-in votes, not for any of the candidates.
Next item is B-0037. 2 on the front and then all of the unopposed judges on the back. So those are the 2 on the front. And then 2 to the left.
I think with the exception of, this makes it hard, I know it's sometimes to, I don't want to necessarily split my opinion on these, but marry you, again, we have a marry me situation where that's sort of close enough to the candidate's name and they're obviously spoofing it, but the rest of them, I think they're different enough.
Right.
But marry me is also spelled M-A-R-R-Y, me, M-E. So, yeah. I guess I'm not exactly giving a very clear, bright line, sort of like, yeah. I mean, I think the majority of these are write-ins for very different names or very different things, but that would be the only one that I would
I agree.
question.
Yeah,
Board has made a determination that there is 1 vote for printed candidate marry you on the ballot. The rest of the write-ins are write-in votes rather than votes for the candidates printed on the ballot.
Item B-0038. We've got 3 items on the front. And then all except for 2 on the back. So for the Secretary of State contest, there's Calvin Hobbs. For prosecuting attorney, we've got Will Farrell. And State Supreme Court.
I would vote all 3 for the write-in.
Right, I agree.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then there's a whole bunch on back, but I'll let you look at the back. Just a moment.
I think these are different enough.
Yeah, I agree, all write-ins.
Board has determined for this ballot all write-in votes.
B-0039. Couple on the front and then all but 2 on the back. front. So State Supreme Court Justice position number 1 and position number 5. Then all of the judge positions on the back except for one of them.
Using our same rationale and reasoning, I see marry you, a write-in for marry me, which, you know, seems to indicate the candidate. Barbara Madsen, Barbara Happyson, similar reasoning. And then on the back, Helen Whitener is Helen Blackner. I think everyone else is too far afield from. Mhm.
I agree.
Board has determined for State Supreme Court Judge position number 1, a vote for Mary Yu. Position 5, Barbara Madsen. 6, Helen. The rest on the ballot are votes for write-ins and not for the printed candidate.
Item B-0040, but an item on the front for State Supreme Court Justice position number 1, and then many on the back. For the wide variety.
Yeah, it gets tough to sort of parse these, you know, I really want to create sort of a more bright line precedent and rule that's easier to follow, because then we get into sort of the business of interpreting,
Right.
you know, and that's really tough because, you know, we have the same sort of situation. Marry you becomes marry you, comma, me. And the rest of them are fairly far enough away from the printed candidate that it's a little bit of an easier call. But then, you know, it's just sort of tricky and tough. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, again, I wish we had a clear rule too, but I would think for Mary, you, me, that would be a vote for the printed candidate. And there was another, Kristen shot well, Kristen shot bad. We've been counting that as a vote for the printed candidate. And the cat McDowell, dog McRuff is, I think I would count the votes for the candidate, the written candidate Chin, Shotwell, and you as being close enough to the candidate on the ballot, and the rest as write-ins, but it's unsatisfying.
It is, you know, I feel like there almost needs to just be a, you know, if it's a spoof vote, even if it's close to the candidate's name, you know, and I don't know, I don't know. I feel bad for kind of coming to this conclusion you know, midstream, but it's sort of looking at all of these to really kind of figure it out. But I think that there needs to be something, and I don't know if something exists that, you know, kind of can
Well, a
clarify that.
committee does exist for us to provide feedback with in conjunction with the Secretary of State to help provide more guidance or additional rules.
That would
So
be
this
great.
is something definitely that's on our list to bring
Good.
forward when
Oh,
we
that's
have that
great.
meeting with other county partners, but
And like Geraldine and John were sharing earlier, we've never really seen write-ins, spoof write-ins to this degree that any of us could remember.
Yeah.
But I think definitely taking it to the state voter intent committee. And then I think where you were just headed to, if the state committee doesn't take it up, for this body to take up, you know, sort of, you know, some sort of clearer lines around it, I think is something we should think of before the next election.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing too is that if they tend to make the joke when there's only one candidate in the race.
yes.
So, I don't know if they're just saying, I don't care about this one because there's only one person here. But there was on the back, for example, on candidates where there was on judge position 7, which was a contested race, they clearly voted for one of the candidates. So it makes you think that the write-in is really a write-in.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make that motion. Did you already make a motion? Why don't we make a motion that they're all write-ins? Because again, when there are 2 judicial candidates, they clearly picked one of them and didn't do a write-in.
So you are proposing that, for example, for the.
Even for the marry me, me. I would, on this one, given that they know how to vote for a candidate when they want to, all the other ones, I'm just gonna count as a write-in.
So you think even for the one, what was it? The shot well, yeah, shot bad.
And knows. Andrea knows instead of Andrea Chin. Those are the ones I'm having a hard time with, Mary, Andrea, and
I feel like the way we've been interpreting these has been, you know, I think for consistency,
Okay.
we've been saying, if it's close enough or if it's
Give it.
clearly,
okay, I can live with that.
we err on the side of, you know, to vote for the printed candidate. But I think that just for consistency's sake, maybe kind of continue in that vein. But I do think that we need to obviously have a clearer guideline in the future, whether it's, you know, even if it's a little bit off, even if it's a marry me, marry you situation, you know, that we.
We do it one way or the other.
Right,
Not
and-
try to guess if it's close enough.
Right, and
Right.
get out of the business of doing that interpretation. That would be my.
And I think prior to this election where there were so many unopposed judges, our internal standard that we've been sort of using was if we could tell like that the voter was in earnest looking to have their name variation, like they wanted it to be for the candidate, we were calling it a vote for the candidate. But if it seemed like it was derogatory or demeaning or like it was very loose, John, maybe I'm not saying it in the right way. We were having a long discussion about it this morning. Do you want to share what you were telling me
Yeah.
about earlier?
If we were sure it was in earnest, then we would vote it. If we were sure it was a joke, we would call the right. If we weren't sure, we would send it to you. So the ones that we often sent to you were ones
The hard
where
ones.
like they switched the initials and we were like, are they
Right.
joking or are they dyslexic? Right, that's the sort of thing we would send to you. Otherwise, if we thought it was joking, we'd call it right.
Okay.
Okay, board, so what I'm hearing is we've got a vote for State Supreme Court Judge Position 1, a vote for Mary Yu, printed candidate. We've also got for West Electoral District Court, Position 5, a vote for printed candidate Shotwell. Seattle Municipal Court, a vote for Chin in Position 2. The rest are write-in votes, not for the candidate printed on the ballot.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, last write-in ballot. This is item B-0041. And it's the one on the front and everything except for a couple on the back. So we've got the State Supreme Court position number 1.
So we would count that for the printed candidate.
and then the whole back. So I will hand it over for you to take a look at.
It's so tough.
Yeah, we get into getting into like parsing the intricate details of these, you know, for example, Andrea Chin as the printed candidate, Andy Forehead, you know, and is Andrea the same name as Andy, you know, and so we get into these dilemmas of having to interpret and dissect you know, Helen Whitener versus Helen Blackner, Barbara Mattson versus Barb Ladson. So I don't know if we want to separate out the ones, keep being consistent with what we've been
I
doing,
think so.
separate out the ones that are obviously
So board, is that a vote for state Supreme Court, a vote for printed candidate Mary Yu,
Yes.
a vote for state Supreme Court Justice position number 5, a vote for Barbara Mattson,
Yes.
for position 6, a vote for printed candidate Helen Whitener, Kirsten,
I think shot well and shot poorly are, you know, close. And I don't think that one, just because we've got Andrea, Andy, two, you know, different.
and the rest right in.
The rest are
candidates.
right.
Okay. There's ink in both overvote. So federal, United States Senator is an overvote. There's ink in both, the board has determined.
Okay, well, that was the last ballot for review today. I have no further items for you.
All right, canvassing board, any further business?
No,
We will be convening back here virtually, though, next week to certify this election. In the meantime, the canvassing board meeting for today, Wednesday, November 23rd, has been adjourned at 2:27 p.m.
Do we want to move the motion to-
Yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry. We're back in business.
Sorry.
We have not been adjourned. We're going to get a quick motion to process those ballots.
I move to have the staff at elections count the ballots as marked.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, no further business. This meeting is adjourned and it's still 2:27 p.m. on Wednesday, November 23rd. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.